me.
Quick shot. It seems like Activision Blizzard is kind of like their house is on fire a little bit right now. It seems like there's a lot of issues going on over there. There seems to have been quite a few complaints, some lawsuits filed for like discrimination, sexual harassment. And there seems to be like a lot of employees that are behind this, enough for them to have gotten together and walked out on Blizzard. And they did this Wednesday, I believe, and last Wednesday. And so I'm hoping that all this gets resolved. But do you think that this is like, I mean, obviously this has probably been going on for a long time, right? And we've seen a lot of people just slowly but surely leaving. I think one of the other problems was like the quality of life at work wasn't that great. So I don't know if it's like an issue with needing more vacation time or just, better things around the office or whatnot. That's a big reason why people, stay at their jobs, is if it's got to be enjoyable at least to some extent.
Well, you don't at least don't hate going to work.
Right. Right. That's what makes it the worst, right? You get half-assed employees, that come there and they're angry because they're there. You know what I mean? But it's work at the end of the day. So it's, it can't be all peaches and cream, all the time. But anyways, do you think that this may spark like, I mean, I know Activision and Blizzard, are one, but do you think they might try to change some things higher up? Maybe change like that could end up changing the aspects of like how Blizzard works. All the shit that they're doing with the nickel and diming in World of Warcraft, or.
Well, it could, but I tend to think this could be the beginning of the end. Unfortunately, I'm a huge Blizzard game fan. Right. I am. Like I've played everything they've ever released, and I thought that everything they've released has been pretty darn good. They're like the industry standard on certain things. Like they're the industry standard on MMOs.
Yeah.
They're largely the industry standard on like arena shooters with Overwatch. They're like the industry standard with ARPGs with Diablo. Like all action RPGs kind of copy Diablo.
Yeah, I got
and
you.
Diablo just does it better. They're kind of the industry standard on quite a few things. Activision, I can kind of care less. Like they're more like Call of Duty guys.
Yeah.
Like they're okay. Like
I think it's just because Activision bought Blizzard, right?
Well, they partnered, but yeah, I think it was Activision buying Blizzard, but like it was like a partnership though. Right. So it's like Blizzard was able to keep their name. They added the name to the title. Blizzard kept their own offices, their own thing going, right? So it's like it was like a buying, but like it was a partnership buying more so.
Okay.
So Activision does like their own thing, like with the loot boxes, all the controversy. Activision's always been kind of hated
hungry,
by a lot of people, but the problem is everyone keeps buying their games. So what the F do they
not
care?
gonna slow them down.
Yeah, what do they care? Like, why do they? What would they care at all if you hate me if you're still buying my game?
Yeah,
right. The money is what they're bringing in. So Activision's always kind of seemed shady. The reason why I think like this is an issue, and that one thing I don't know if people are fully necessarily thinking about. It's no excuse, but I think oftentimes what happens in these companies, I think this happens all over the world. I think with every company, this probably happens at every big corporation. It just hasn't been found out. Is when people are very talented, you have like probably a certain few people in the company that are like really talented. Right. Like you probably owe them a lot. Like they come up with like all the great ideas. They're like the Steve Jobs of the world. Like not everyone's a Steve Jobs, but you have people in the company that are like the rock stars of the company.
Right.
These people, I think, tend to get lackadaisical with their morality. They end up, taking advantage because they think they're, they can walk on water now. No, they can't do nothing to me. I'm the lifeblood. They've been given
certain privileges.
They've been given certain privileges, and I think that these companies kind of are. They aren't, but they're in a rock and a hard place in the sense of, do we punish these guys and lose our lifeblood talent? Do we get rid of like our talent because they're crossing moral boundaries? Or do we try to brush it under the rug for the almighty dollar? And I think oftentimes these companies, unfortunately, they would rather keep their talent and profits. They value that more, I think, in my opinion, than morality, even though they probably should value morality more and hold their people to a better standard. But they let these people run rampant. And I think what you would see is if like there was like a coming out of these guys being fired, you would see probably the quality of their games and stuff start to go down. And that's probably the challenge. You might not, but you might see the quality of the game go down. And I think that's really the crux of the challenge for these companies is, do we fire our talent when they cross certain lines, or do we kind of like, turn a blind eye to it? And I think they end up turning a blind eye to it. And now it's coming out for everyone to see.
It's not being tolerated
and they're toast
anymore.
In general now.
Yeah.
So I think this should be like a cautionary tale. As hard as it may be, follow your rules. Kick these people out if they're nuisances.
Yeah,
if
cut
they're
that
harassing.
tree down before it gets
cut that
too
tree
big.
down. Exactly. Don't let it control your company where you feel like you're enslaved to these people that are just like the lifeblood of your company. Get rid of it. Otherwise, your whole company. Because in my opinion, I feel like I've seen lots of big streamers, man, who like their business is Blizzard games.
Yeah.
Like that's their whole channel is Blizzard games. Asmongold kind of got lucky. He kind of did that whole for fun he was never intending it to be like legitimately switching over and forgetting about WoW, but he kind of did it, and now he has an avenue that he sees he's still popular in that isn't WoW.
Right.
So if he ever wanted to forsake the company because of this situation,
or if it ever bursts into flames, he can slowly slide over. And
he can slowly slide over. He has an avenue out. He had an escape route he kind of built by accident.
Right.
But what's weird to me also about this is in California and in most states with the law is when lawsuits are brought up, you probably know this, but when lawsuits are brought forward and brought to the forefront to a company, the state demands before any court is ever said is to enter mediation, right? Mediation always happens first, where the idea is the state is trying to say, figure this out so we don't have to have a whole court hearing, right?
Yeah, when papers are served, you have the option of mediation.
It's like,
that's there.
Well, and on these ones with the state, it's you go into mediation immediately, like it happens. So that means that Blizzard and Activision knew about this lawsuit long before it ever became public record. And they decided to not settle in mediation.
Yeah, I mean, this article that I'm looking at from Wowhead or whatever, talking about the issue, just stated that the people, the employees at Blizzard, didn't like the response that Blizzard gave towards the harassment and the discrimination lawsuits that had been handed to them.
Mm-hmm.
So they were probably like, well, fuck it, we'll fight it in court. Like, so like
they thought they would win
or some shit.
Blizzard, Activision. I guess they assumed that they would win, right? Or else why would you not try to settle in mediation?
Yeah. So whatever the reaction was, which I don't know, but whatever that was, the employees were not happy, and so they're trying to push the envelope by saying like, okay, well, you can have these, maybe these talented people, but you need a team to work under them in order to do the shit that they're doing. So
sure,
if we don't work, you don't get stuff done. You still need hands. You can't do it with 5 people.
Yeah, but Blizzard okayed like the time off. That's weird too.
What do you mean?
Like the Blizzard came out and says like we support your walkout. Don't worry about it. Your hours will be covered or something along those lines. Something real stupid. They gotta save face. Just real something stupid.
Yeah.
But to me, like the reason why I think, even if they thought that they weren't doing anything discriminatory, even if they thought that, it's like the Epic and Apple thing. The moment this thing goes to court, like everything's going to spill out. Yeah. I bet you there's lots of companies, bro, who've done business and work, like Sony did with Epic, and like all the Sony stuff came out, right? What they're charging and all this stuff. We learned how they hate crossplay. Yeah. That all came out from the Epic versus Apple dispute. Right. Sony wasn't even part of that dispute, and yet it all came out because all the papers got, released to public record for every case.
And then I think it's like at the same time, right? Like, you might not have that many eyes on you about this issue, but you have this issue right here that is way bigger. So you're like, wow, while you're listening, I also have this, and this grievance to air out.
Exactly.
So everybody
it's a mess.
Can see it.
It's a total mess. And in the digital social media era, it doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't even matter if you weren't doing anything wrong. Like, there was something. So they've definitely done some things wrong, and then some things are going to be blown out of proportion and just attached to other things, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. Like the whole Bill. Did you see the Bill Cosby picture? There was one picture that got released of the Blizzard employees all posing in front of a picture of a big picture of Bill Cosby behind them.
Okay.
And that was supposed to solidify the whole rape jokes, because they have like rape jokes at the company that supposedly they were talking rape jokes.
Yeah.
And everyone saw them and go, see, look it, they're just making fun of rape. But the truth of the matter is that photo was taken in 2013, and Cosby didn't come into. We didn't know Cosby was a rapist or whatever until like 2015, 2016, when it was in the public mind.
Right.
So supposedly the guys came out and says, no, that wasn't rape. We were making fun of the hotel room we were in because it had like the weird like sweater vest, like carpeting and rugs. And supposedly some of those guys that were in that picture released pictures showing like, look it. And it did. It kind of basically perfectly matched. You know those things that Cosby were on the show? Perfectly matched. And they were just joking about that. But sorry, too late. It's already in the internet, man. And it's just going to fuel fire to what people already know went on there. Bad stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's just going to compound like a snowball. And you're done. I just think they're done, dude. I see, like I said, big YouTube channels who are all about WoW quitting. Like deleting their WoW characters and like quitting. I don't know how you bounce. Is there a way to bounce from this? Yeah, they're trying to make a stand against them, saying like, we can't support this company any longer.
Right.
But do you see a route to recovery here? Is there a way for them to navigate this and survive?
Well, yeah, I think you gotta the biggest issue.
Good games?
You gotta address all the problems, right? So you gotta sit here and you gotta address all of the discrimination issues that are popping up, and you got to handle the sexual harassment issues. Like, you got to get the people who are being singled out as part of these issues. You have to get down to the nitty gritty, get the proof you need or whatever, and get rid of them. And then, because that shit even happened, right, then you got to change the people at the top, right? Because the majority of the time, they knew about it. Right. They let the shit
Which is what I was saying.
Because of whatever reason.
Right.
So you got to take them, get them out of there. You know, however you're going to do it, you know, obviously the people who the sexual harassment and stuff like that happened to, they would probably want them fired, you know, but in this logical world or whatever, or in this world logically, people are going to probably just give them some type of a severance package and hey, you know, we won't put no bad blemish on your record. You just resign, and then you can go and work at another company so that you can still be an executive or whatever, and you get your money. And then that's how they get them to move out quietly.
Right.
That's probably how it will go.
Right.
But yeah, you would just rearrange it from the top and then work your way down, and then you start implementing all of the different things to keep the shit from happening.
Yeah,
again.
I just don't know, because like in the social media world, it's so wildfire. Like even. It's kind of like, there was an example I was trying to remember where like, you get, let's say, accused of something and everyone believes it, and you get like crushed, let's say canceled. And then all of a sudden the truth comes out. People have moved on. People like the social media era just like moves on. So people are already, it doesn't matter if later it comes out that you actually weren't wrong here or like you were vindicated or whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. People have already moved on. They already have an impression of you. They already think you're this. And I feel like Blizzard is going to be now just a stain. The name is like stained. Yeah,
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I believe that it depends on the entity getting accused. Like I would feel like a big name brand like Blizzard, you know, having this, you know, come up and it's like a blemish on their record. But it's like an internal thing, right? So it's not, unfortunately, it's not something that affects you or I. You know what I mean? The game is still out there. We still can play the game. If they were to come out with a game tomorrow, we would assume that game would be a good game, and there's probably a bunch of people that would still play it. You know, so there's obviously going to be a lot of people who don't play it because they don't want to support that kind of stuff. So what I'm saying is if you were to blatantly show that you are rearranging everything in there to make sure that this does not happen again, or to let people know that this is not acceptable.
So your point is because they have a larger mouthpiece? a larger hone to get their side out.
They have
they're fixing things.
A lot of stuff that they can back themselves up with, like
But who's listening? That's what I'm trying to say.
I think everybody would listen because of how big they are, because it's Blizzard. It's just like if you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. So because they have a larger mouthpiece, like a larger soapbox to stand
Yeah, like
on.
if something was to happen to LeBron James, if he was to be accused of something or whatever, and then he was vindicated of that accusation or whatever, people would still hold him at high regard, as long as you can change the correction or whatever. Like Kobe had his issue of accusation, and a lot of things happened. He lost a lot of contracts as soon as he was accused of it. There was no actual he wasn't found guilty or anything like that, and then he was vindicated, and then he went back out.
He was stained as that. He was stained with that even after he was vindicated for a long time.
Yeah, but that's dickheads that want to try to bring that up.
It took it years, though. It took him years to build his integrity back.
But at the end of the day, Kobe was still Kobe. He was still putting up the numbers that he was putting up. It's just that people wanted to believe whatever that is. So I'm saying that they could still get back. Like, it's still possible to get back.
The only thing I'll say,
if you continue producing greatness, they will accept it again.
The greatness helps. So if they can spit out like a great, incredible game, that would help. You're right. I agree with that. I think that, for me, that's how I think they recover, is by making great games.
Yeah, to continue to produce the great game. They fix the issue. If they continue
to make great games, I think even if they struggle to fix the issue, if they just keep making great games, they can bounce back. But what I'm saying is, the one difference between like a superstar like LeBron or Kobe is that this is a company. They live off revenue. Like, if it's for like years, if it's taking them years to like re-solidify their integrity, I don't know how long they can last being in the dumpster and the company survive. If anything, they shrink. If anything, they get a lot smaller. I don't see how the company losing all this, because they're losing lots of revenue right now. Mm-hmm. Tons of it. Everyone's unsubscribing. WoW's a wasteland. I don't know how the company bounces back. The company. While those directions you mentioned all make sense, it's just on an individual. It's different for an individual versus like a company. The company is going to have a hard time. I think it's like the beginning of the end for the company.
And I could see, like, if it starts taking them too long to resolve this issue, right?
Then
if they can't come to something like that, I can very well see there being no more Activision Blizzard, just being Activision. But I can bet you that the majority of the people who were working at Blizzard just no longer have the Blizzard title. They're still working at Activision.
So a rebranding can help too.
Yeah, or just an excommunication of the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just rebrand. It's no
longer an Activision Blizzard. Blizzard's gone. This is just
rebranded
Activision.
Or something. Yeah.
And all of those people that were in there have just moved to a different building.
I think,
or whatever.
That's what I think.
And
like,
they're still
I think
working on games.
A lot of the people, in my opinion, who are at Blizzard, if I were them, would probably just want to, dude, that had nothing to do with me, man. I come to work every day and I make cards. I draw art for Hearthstone. I had nothing to do with this. You're probably better off just branching off and kind of like what some of them did, some of the.
A lot of them did.
The Chicken Dinner. I don't know if you've ever heard of Chicken Dinner, but the lead designer of Hearthstone, he left the company and took some of the talent with him, and they started their own game company called Chicken Dinner. Mm-hmm. I would do that. I would just branch off and rebrand yourself. This is a new name. And not be associated with that anymore.
Yeah, and I get it, but sometimes
just dissolve it.
Yeah, but sometimes that's harder. You know what I mean? That's a hard step to take, because you're gonna.
It is, but it's better than being associated with that right now. I think
you're trying to go off of your name that you made, working at Blizzard, and then start something completely new. And you have to.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
You know what I mean? You might have to get some new backers, to take percentages of the company or whatever to help fund it.
Oh, for sure.
To get you started.
Absolutely.
Wheras you could just, relocate.
Hope that it stays.
Activision, and then be able to
stays around. Yeah. Hopefully.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But it'll be definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we'll follow the story.
What's going on?
And when the court happens, we'll follow the arguments and what they say.
Right, because they got to get this stuff changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, their building is burning.
It's burning.
But, is it going to fall all the way down, or are they going to be able to save it?
It is burning, bro.
And I think the steps that they take to at least getting the employees on their side is the first start. Then they have to gain the people.
Yeah, and be an attractive place to bring talent.
Yeah,
you have to be a place talent wants to come to, or you're screwed.
Right.
So it's hard.
That's why I'm saying, like, the
hard.
employees come first. Once that issue with the employees is resolved, and they can get back to making,
that's going to be hard to rebuild
doing
that
work
trust,
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know, then it's going to be like, okay, you know, all of those people that were speaking out against it, you know, are going to be like, hey, they've changed things. You know, they've done this, they've done this. Please come back to the game and play.
Yeah.
You know, and try to petition to get players back into it.
Right.
To build this momentum back.
If you can, good luck.
You know,
good luck, man.
Or create that next game to get everybody buzzed.
Or create that next game.
What I mean?
That's one way, is to create some buzz right now. Release Diablo 4. I mean, like, create some buzz, do something to get the attention off this. Or else like you said, you're gonna fall to the ground.
But fix the issue.
Well, you have to, but fix the issue. Fix the issue. But you got to get the off this.
Right.
You should be internally trying to fix the issue, absolutely. Yeah. But I'm talking about, you need to be getting if you want to survive. If Blizzard wants to survive, they need to do something, you know, to get the attention off this, or they're toast.
Yeah, for sure. So you know, here's the hoping that gets resolved quickly, efficiently, and they can get back to business so that they can finish up, you know, Diablo 4 and stuff like that.
I love you, me.